You're listening to the Sales Hunter podcast. My name's Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. We're talking about LinkedIn today. And, we all know that we have to be on LinkedIn, but how do we go about it? How do we do it? With me today is the expert, Brynne Tillman. Why am I talking? Let's get her on the show, and it begins right now.
You're listening to the Sales Hunter podcast with Mark Hunter, where the focus is to help you as a sales leader sell with confidence and integrity. And now here's your host.
The book, The LinkedIn Edge, written by Brynne Tillman and Jeb Blount. Hey, welcome. You have been the LinkedIn expert for years. And we were talking in the mythical green room.
With the green M&Ms, the mythical green M&Ms.
Mythical. How everything keeps changing. So first of all, welcome to the show and tell us what's changing out there in terms of LinkedIn.
The good, bad, the bad, the ugly, right? So the good news is LinkedIn is really diving all in on the AI world in an ethical way, in a great way, especially in the Sales Navigator world where they're making pre-call planning just so phenomenally strong that you're showing up to every one of your sales meetings armed with data and information. So I'm loving that. That's the really, really, really good stuff. I also think what I'm about to say is the good stuff, although it's controversial and people are not happy about it. LinkedIn is cracking down on bots and automation in a way that's a little scary because I know lots of people that are getting their accounts restricted, but the bots are bad. We've all been victims of the bot, of the automation. Why would we want to be victimizers? So those are some of the things, and the third piece though, is what I love most about LinkedIn hasn't changed, which is the ability to leverage your social proximity to identify who in your network can help you get in front of your ICP.
Okay, you've just thrown a lot out there on the table. First of all, I love the whole bot thing because for a long time, every time I post something, I'd get 3 messages from 3 different people, different parts of the world, almost saying the exact same thing. It was clearly that they had an AI bot that was responding. And, last couple of weeks, I haven't seen them. I'm really heartbroken. But let's jump into Sales Navigator because this is a tool that everybody says they have, but very few people use properly. Give us the high level. Give the audience. How do they get more power out of Sales Navigator? Because again, people have it, but they don't use it.
So this is a wonderful question. There are 7 searches that every Sales Navigator user needs to have. First one is your base search. This is your ICP at the largest number, right? This is your universe. It could be by industry, it could be by company size, it could be by territory, whatever your universe is, it's really honing in on the largest number of your ICP. The second search is that search plus first degree connections. So these are how many people do you already have a connection with that meet your ICP. By the way, when you save these, there's a little toggle that you can save them and rename them. They're dynamic. So as you connect with new first degree connections that meet your ICP, they get added to that list. The third one is second degree ICP. So you may go from 87 first degrees to 7,000 second degrees, but that's okay, right? This is your pathway to your ICP. This is who do you know that knows, or at least who are you connected to that's connected to your ICP. Number 4, go back to the ICP without relationships and click job change. This is who in your ICP, your big base search, changed jobs in the last 90 days. The next one, take that out, go back to your base search and add in post it on LinkedIn, right? Fabulous. The next search, we're going to leave lead searches for a moment and we're going to go to account search. So that was search based on leads. Now we want an account search, which, by the way, you can now add in revenue and some other filters that aren't available in lead search. And so it's coming from the company versus the person that meets your ICP. Big search, your whole universe. And then the seventh one is your whole universe of account searches and first degree. So now you have your saved searches that will allow you to stop random acts of social, because there's a purpose for each of those, right? We're going in with a purpose, a prospecting methodology.
Okay, I love what you said, random acts of social, because I think people are starting to wake up that more does not always equal better. And it is about getting targeted. It is about getting focused. I always say that less is really more, especially in this noisy world. And what you just described allows people to really focus in on less, but get better. Now, I want to dive into this a little bit deeper because, again, ICP, ideal customer profile. But now we're quickly realizing that buyer intent is absolutely key.
Oh, yeah.
How can I use LinkedIn to help me in terms of being able to see buyer intent? Now, you said job search, job change. That, of course, many times is a buyer intent sign, But
it's a trigger.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
for
it's a
sure.
trigger, because they could potentially be looking to make some different buying decisions, do some different programs, etc. So, are there other buyer intent signals that we can garner off of?
So let me play with that trigger for a moment, and then we'll go into more specific buyer intent. There are three filters. So if you go back to your base search, there are three filters around the company and experience. So there's how long they've been at a company. So you can choose less than a year. You can choose how long they've been in the position. So they might have been in that company for years, but they've been promoted.
Mm-hmm.
And there's how many years experience. So I love the combination of 10 plus years experience, less than a year in a position, because that will actually talk to exactly what you just said. Chances are they're new in this company. They're probably hired to make an impact, to make a change. So you don't have to wait for that job change alert. You can actually search for them in the under 12 months in that position. So if your solution would align with a new decision maker in a company, this is a great opportunity to start trust-based conversations and earn the right to talk about how you might be able to help them. Yeah, so that's not quite, I would call that a trigger, not necessarily buyer intent. Now, buyer intent is more about the actions they're taking around the need for your product or service, or the awareness of your company. So in Sales Navigator, there are options where you can look at who has viewed profiles of people in your company that meet your ICP. It could be who's following your company page. There's awareness there that meet your ICP. There are also, depending on how large your company is, there are other triggers, and based on your enterprise Sales Navigator connection with your CRM, there are other triggers that might be, or there are other buyer intent signals. Other triggers, however, could be, for some people, hiring in a specific department or laying off. So you can do searches of percentage of growth, and it's in a department, not even a whole company. So for Mark, for you, if you go into a company that has grown their sales force by 10%, they need you, right? There are new people in there that need some sales training. For other folks, maybe that, let's say they're a lead cold calling company, a lead gen company, if they see that there's a decrease in sales reps, there may be an opportunity for them to go in to do lead gen and feed their remaining salespeople leads so that it's more optimized. Anyway, the point of this is you've got to find out what are the triggers and the buying signals that you can leverage to bring your solution in.
I love where you're going with this because it's a mirroring of triggers with buyer intent. And I see so many people, they look at buyer intent. Well, until they visit my website, hold it. There's a lot of other signals that you're missing
Yes.
if you're waiting for them to visit your website, or they looked at my personal profile or our company. No, because again, they could be much further down the road before they got to you. So again, you're missing out on that. And that's absolutely key. I love where you're going because again, Sales Navigator, I think, is one of the most misunderstood tools. But here's here's a curveball I want to throw at you. The challenge is you get into Sales Navigator, you pull the names down, and the email, if they have an email in their info, it's some random account that they never look at. So then now I'm forced to be messaging you within LinkedIn. And I'll tell you what, I get dozens of messages every day. I don't look at them because, again, so many of them are just trying to pitch me, as you would say. They haven't even connected to me. They're just plain pitching me. How do we break through that? And I have a feeling you talk about that probably in your book, The LinkedIn Edge, right?
I think we might a little bit.
Oh, I didn't even realize I was going to segue to that because, again, you're coming out with the new book, The LinkedIn Edge, with Jeb Lund, who is without a doubt the dean, the master when it comes to really developing business, developing customers. So walk us through a few of the things that people are going to find in the book.
Yeah. And, it's interesting because Jeb and I have different perspectives.
Yes, you do. I know both of you well. And there's some things that you two don't agree on. And I love that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing is we've come to a place where we both agree that both of our methodologies are very productive.
Thank you. Okay, I want to stop right there because this is what I hate it when people say that this is the doctrine of sales. This is the only, no. There are different paths out there.
Absolutely.
Okay, so thank you. That was a public service announcement. Okay.
Yeah, I love this. So he talks a lot about fast prospecting. How do we convert quickly? And I talk a lot more about slow prospecting. How are you nurturing and building relationships and earning the right to get the conversation? Both of them in parallel can be very effective. And actually, both of them independent of each other can be very effective. But I'll talk from my perspective on the slower prospecting and then have Jeb on to talk about the fast prospecting.
Jeb is coming on the show.
Good.
And he's going to talk about that because, again, this comes back to this speed. And again, it depends also on what you're selling, the purchase cycle, what's happening, the types of people you're dealing with, all these other things. So again, both can be very much true. You got to pick the one that fits your lane and fits who you are. So, okay, I want to hear the slower cycle because I'm more in your lane. Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. I love that. So I always felt connected to you, Mark. So yeah, let's talk for a second about what this means. And it really means over a period of time that we are nurturing connections. Now, there's a few ways that we can do this. In Sales Navigator, we can easily, in our alerts, look at our saved accounts, our saved leads, who's sharing content, engaging on their content. But not everyone is sharing content and not everyone gives you that opportunity. The other option, which is also a little slower, but I love it, is leveraging your social proximity. So if we go back to our second degree ICP search, for example, this is the opportunity where we can leverage our existing connections to either get warm introductions or permission to name drop. Both are really very powerful.
Bryn, I got to stop you right there because your style, longer style, and Jeb, faster style, they're both compatible. Again, both sales styles can work. And again, I hate this because so many people say that this is the sales doctrine. It's the only thing you can do. Yeah. It's wrong. It depends on what you're selling, who you are, the market. There's so many factors that come into play. Okay, so we got that little public service announcement out of the way. So talk to the audience about your kind of like, okay, this is a little bit longer approach of how you go to market.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different ways to leverage the longer approach. Let's first start with simply engaging. That might feel like the longest approach. But we do know that if you engage 10 times more than you post, people will start to see your content and you'll start to build credibility in the marketplace. So whether you are leveraging Sales Navigator or the free LinkedIn, it is very simple to engage 10 times more than you post, but you want to make sure you're engaging with the right people that you want to see your content. We can go deep into that if you choose to, but I'm going to kind of make
I want to stop you right there because you 10 times engage 10 times more than you post. Unpack that. Explain what that means.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so we have the opportunity that LinkedIn provides us that almost, as far as I know, no other platform allows us to do, which is control our own destiny, control our own algorithm. So Mark, I see your stuff all the time. I know it's great stuff, but I see it because I'm engaging at least once a week on your live with you and with Meredith, right? So because I'm engaging with you, I continue to see your stuff. But also, you'll start to see my stuff, even if you're not engaging back, right? So which you do, so I thank you. But if I engage, let's say I engage with who's Mel Robbins, right? She's not going to necessarily engage back. I engage with Mel Robbins 3, 4, 5 times. I viewed her profile. I've commented on her stuff. I will start to show up in her newsfeed for 2 weeks. And if she engages within that 2 weeks, the 2 weeks starts over. So we can control who's seeing our content based on who we are engaging with. That said, we want to be really careful that we're very clear on who we're engaging with. Don't go randomly engaging with people on your news feed that are irrelevant to your business development goals. Unless it's a friend or like, it's okay. Like, I'm not saying, but if you're going to do this purposefully, don't just say, okay, I did my 10, but they're random. So I'll share on Sales Navigator. It's really simple because when you share accounts and you share leads and you go to your homepage, it is curated based on what you have told LinkedIn and who you told LinkedIn you're interested in. So that news feed should be about 40 to 50% accurate. You could go through and just engage. But what if you don't have Sales Navigator? Here's a little magic behind the scenes, Mark. If you go to the search bar in the free LinkedIn and hit enter and click on posts and click on most recent and then all filters and then go in with my first degree connections and people I follow along with the industry of the author, I can now curate a list of people that, and follow does not have to be first degree. I could go follow people like Mel Robbins and her content will now show up. So I can now create a very purposeful list. And I use bookmarks to save it. You don't even have to use, there's no save in the free LinkedIn like there is in Sales Navigator, but a quick little bookmark that I name daily content is where I go every single day to engage.
I love that. Hey, I want to continue talking with Bryn and get into more of the book, The LinkedIn Edge. But right now I want to say that this episode is sponsored by the How to Get a Meeting with Anyone Mastermind. It's where elite sellers learn audacious, proven strategies to land impossible meetings with their dream clients. It's created by Stu Heineck, the Wall Street Journal cartoonist who AMA named the father of contact marketing. You can join now at getameetingmastermind.com. Spots are limited. And yeah, you know, Stu, great.
Brilliant.
Okay, so let's unpack this some more, because now I'm sure you talk about that in the book, The LinkedIn Edge, right?
I'm sure. All right. I mean, yes, we have so much.
Well, I know. I mean, anytime you team up with Jeb to write a book, it is going to be a thesaurus. I mean, it's going to be the encyclopedia. It's going to be everything in there. So, what are some nuggets that you know are in there that the audience is going to jump?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. I'm sure that strategy is in there at least once, if not a few times. And I in fact, I know that it is, because we have a whole section on the algorithm. So absolutely. There are a few other things, right? So social proximity for me is the most powerful. So, you know, when we're talking about slower outreach, I could make a list of my ICP, and I can go out and I can connect with them and send them information or content or whatever it might be, and hope and pray that they see credibility in what I do. However, where does real credibility come from? So I will share, if someone that I'm engaging with on your live podcast on Saturday mornings reaches out to me and says they want a conversation, 100% they're getting a conversation with me, because they're related to you and Meredith, because they're connected, because we have that in common. Now imagine if someone comes to me and said, I was talking to Mark and he said I should follow you. Oh my gosh, let's talk, right? So that's at the what we're earning the right for. But now let's think strategically. I want more of this. I don't want inbound. We need outbound, right? So Mark, you say to me, Bryn, I think you're great. I'm happy to refer you. Who do you want to meet? And I'm going to say revenue-driven professionals. And you're going to be like, okay, I talk to 100,000 of them a year. Who do you want to meet, right? That's like the old saying, you know, Avon, who do you sell to? People with skin, right? We've got to really hone it down. So I can actually go in, if we are first degree connections, and search exactly the ICP. So I bring up my ICP list, and now in Connections Of, in the free or in Sales Navigator, I can get a list of who Mark knows that meets my ICP. Now, it's a random number in the free LinkedIn. You could have thousands, but in the free LinkedIn, I might see 9 or 10. Mm-hmm. In Sales Navigator, I'll get the full list. But 9 or 10 is a nice way to start, right?
It is. That's less is more, right?
Yeah. So, hey, Mark, you're connected to quite a few people on LinkedIn. I'm looking to get in front of. Can I quickly run these names by you? I could do this through an email. I could do this through a Zoom call. I could do it through a phone call. And maybe of the 10, so we get on a call and I say, Mark, there are 10 people that you're connected to that I'd love to get in front of. Can I run these names, get your ideas, get your insights? And if there's anyone on this list you don't think it makes sense for me to reach out to, let me know. So why am I reversing that? If I say, who on this list should I reach out to? You'll say 3 people. If I say, who on this list should I not reach out to? You'll say 3 people. All right, so I'm going to get a lot more if we're taking away. So number 1. Now, based on our relationship, I can do one of 2 things. I could say, Mark, thanks, of these 7 people, is there anyone on this list you'd be comfortable introducing me to? These 2? Great, thank you. Of the 5, would it be okay when I reach out that I mention that, whether, you know, that you know, you thought it made sense for me to connect with them? So now I'm name dropping. I talked to Mark Hunter. He said I should reach out and introduce myself. And they're like, oh, Mark was talking about me. Like, they don't know, right? But they do know because I just told them. But like, what were they talking about? Oh my gosh, that's so cool. My name came up. So that's the slower process. but you're coming in at such a high level of credibility. You're coming in from a trusted perspective. And yes, it's slower, but from my perspective, when I slow down my outreach, I speed up my outcome.
Hey, I love that. And hey, the show, wow, we could go on for hours, but again, we got to keep it tight. Hey, the LinkedIn Edge, the book is out. You wrote that with Jeb. Absolutely fantastic. Where can people get that? I guess that's kind of obvious, right?
Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
And Barnes and Noble, any place books sold. How do people get in touch with you? How do people follow you? Because you are all over LinkedIn. So.
I am. So LinkedIn for sure. I'm still the only Bryn Tillman there. And Substack, my new baby. So bryntillman.substack.com.
I'm seeing a lot of your stuff pop up on Substack. So yes, so thank you so much. Hey, you've been listening to the Sales Hunter podcast. What is it? It's 2 episodes a week. One like this where we do a deep dive with a subject matter expert. Today, Bryn Tillman absolutely knocked it out of the park with LinkedIn. Second episode is where I actually go live every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Central, sharing with you insights and wisdoms in a very tight manner to get you going for the week. My name is Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Leave me a review on your favorite podcast app. And hey, I'll see you on the next episode. Great selling.